All right, welcome to Hoops Tonight, presented by FanDuel here at The Volume. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, or more importantly, whatever you guys are doing at this time of year. I hope you're getting to spend some quality time with loved ones, which is my absolute favorite thing. I do love gifts. I love things just like everyone else in the world does. But my favorite thing about this time of year is we all kind of slow down a little bit, work a little bit less, and just hang out with the people that we love. I just took the last 3 days off and just spent it with friends and family the entire time. I very much enjoyed that. I hope you guys have been doing the same. We're going to be doing instant reaction videos all day today. Today starting with the Philadelphia 76ers winning in New York against the Knicks, the red hot Knicks. You guys know the drill. Before we get started, subscribe to the Volume's YouTube channel so you don't miss any more of our videos. Follow me on Twitter at _JasonLT so you guys don't miss any show announcements. And then last but not least, if for whatever reason you guys miss one of these videos and you can't get back over to YouTube to finish, you can find them wherever you get your podcasts under Hoops Tonight. So the Sixers won 119-112 despite taking 13 fewer shots. Some typical stuff there. The Sixers did get to the foul line a lot. Also, the Knicks are going to beat you up on the glass like they did tonight. That's a big part of what their advantage is. We talked about how they have a lot of skilled players. We could talk about Jalen Brunson, who appears to have banged up his hip a little bit. Hopefully that's nothing serious. And Julius Randle and RJ Barrett have been playing good basketball, but at the end of the day, they're just physically dominating teams. But this particular game, the Sixers were able to overcome that because they got to the foul line and also because they shot extremely well from the three-point line. You guys hear me talk a lot about offensive skill as an important part of basketball, particularly in the half court. And the New York Knicks are a team that struggle to score in the half court. That's been kind of one of the underlying storylines even in their win streak, is that they're doing it on the glass. They're doing it with their defense, but they're struggling still to score in the half court. And then the Philadelphia 76ers are one of the best half court defenses in basketball. So when this game slowed down there in that fourth quarter, even against that zone defense, they were able to get a bunch of stops in a row and keep the flow of the game stuck in the half court, and it wasn't enough for the Knicks to overcome. As a matter of fact, they held the Knicks to just 6 points in the first 9 minutes of the fourth quarter as they took that game over. In the zone defense, you don't see it a ton at the NBA level because of the fact that it can be pretty easily overcome with high-level shooting and high basketball IQ, because zone defenses have a bunch of gaping holes if you know how to exploit them, especially if you can get the ball to the middle of the floor and you have guys that know how to pass. And if there's one thing that we talked about in our Knicks videos last week, it's that they struggle with spot-up shooting. They're one of the worst spot-up teams in the league. And so if you can't make a team consistently pay in a zone, if you can't shoot them out of it, they're going to stay in it. And especially when you've got a rim protector like Embiid around the rim, it's just going to be really difficult to score, especially if they bog the game down. And they had some stretches there in that third quarter where they were starting to penetrate the zone with the dribble and got some quality shots, but that went away and things got really ugly there in that fourth quarter. And then on the other end of the floor, James Harden pick and roll, just spamming it. And you guys, I talk a lot about pick and roll coverages and the chess match that occurs in defending pick and roll. And this fourth quarter was such a perfect example of how that having the specific personnel types makes that action extremely difficult to cover. So, for instance, they were just spamming Georges Niang in pick and pop with James Harden. We talked about how pick and pop in particular is a counter for drop coverage, because drop coverage forces the guard to chase the ball handler over the top of the screen. And so if you're chasing him over the top of the screen and the screen defender is corralling the ball handler, if the big man is rolling to the rim, you give the screen defender a realistic chance to defend both. Maybe I can dissuade the lob pass and defend this guy coming down the lane. But if he pops to the three-point line, I have to abandon him to stay in my drop coverage to contain at the basket. And so having a guy like Georges Niang that can set a good screen to get Harden downhill on Julius Randle while Niang is popping to the three-point line, you're going to get quality looks out of that. And he made them pay. I think he made 4 threes in the fourth quarter. Most of them either came out of a direct pick and pop or a pick and pop that got rotated around and then worked back to Georges Niang. And so then they tried to switch it, right? Which is the natural counter there, is like, okay, they're picking and popping. We need to switch this so that we can keep somebody with the shooter. Well, Julius Randle went in isolation defense on James Harden and immediately got beat to the basket for a layup. And that's the conundrum that James Harden can put you in when he's playing at a high level. And obviously, I actually thought he was playing at a pretty high level before his injury this year, but that kind of thing happens, especially as you get older. But he's already looking like he's mostly back to himself, even post that foot injury earlier. But it was cool seeing that. It was cool seeing that pick and roll dynamic. You even saw one where they ran a drop coverage, but then dug out of the weak side wing with the third defender, and James Harden just threw a kick out pass to D'Anthony Melton. If I remember correctly, Emmanuel quickly made like a really impressive closeout to end up blocking that three. But it was kind of cool to see that chess match taking place, and that's the little things that I've always enjoyed about the game of basketball. James Harden and Joel Embiid combined for 64, 12, and 14. D'Anthony Melton was awesome again, 5 of 7 from 3. Georges Niang, we just talked about. This team is clicking. That's 8 wins in a row. And believe it or not, they are now just 2.5 games back from the best record in the league. There was a very interesting Adrian Wojnarowski report this morning saying that James Harden is seriously considering a return to the Rockets in free agency this year. Couple things that if you look at the timing of it and the detail in it, it's very clear that James Harden's people approached Woj to get this reported. So there's obviously got to be an angle there, right? We got to start to think about what the intentions of the report are. Would James Harden really want to go play in Houston alongside a young guard that's a lottery pick that they're probably planning as the future of the franchise? Kevin Porter Jr., it's a completely different type of conversation about what you think. Most Houston fans are kind of out on him, but they've got Jalen Green, right? And you've got Jabari Smith Jr., this exciting young defensive forward wing type of a player in the front court. Why would James Harden want to go in and be a part of that? Well, okay, maybe he really likes Houston. I believe that. I'm sure James Harden really enjoyed his time there. But the bottom line is right now he's playing for a GM that truly believes in him. He's putting up numbers. He's winning basketball games, and his team has won 8 games in a row and is 2.5 games back in first place. So why would James Harden ever in a million years want something like this to get out? It's simple negotiation leverage. He took a discount this summer to facilitate the signings of Daniel House and PJ Tucker. He's probably nervous under some, circumstances involving just how good Tyrese Maxey is and the money that Joel Embiid makes and the money that Tobias Harris makes. He's probably just concerned that there won't be enough left for him to get a deal. And my guess is he's just trying to set the table with some leverage, giving him a better chance. And I mean, here's the thing. As long as the ownership has the money to spend, James Harden's a really good basketball player, and he's very important for the ceiling of this Sixers team, just like you saw in that fourth quarter today when his ability to consistently put teams in a precarious position with his pick and roll ball handling, it raises your ceiling. And so I have a hard time believing, especially with Daryl Morey with the keys, that he's going to end up somewhere else. Maybe they try to lowball him into something like a 4-year, $120 million deal just to try to save some flexibility with the cap. And I could see why James Harden would fight against that. But I would be very shocked if James Harden wasn't a Sixer after this year. It would take a pretty astounding collapse at some point this season to really rock the boat enough to break things up, especially with how well they're playing. And I mean, here's the thing, why wouldn't you want to be there if you're James? There's the pressure falls in Embiid. He's the best player. If you lose a playoff series, you're not going to get anywhere near the type of criticism that a guy like Joel Embiid's going to get. You're kind of like the perfect secondary star there. And I just don't understand why he would want anything else. All right, guys, keep an eye on the feeds the rest of the days. We'll have Lakers, Mavs, Celtics, Bucks, Warriors, Grizzlies all coming on the feeds later today. As always, I appreciate your support, and I'll see you later.